Just so a few anecdotal stats first. Last year at the Super Returns Conference, which is a large kind of one of 15 Africa private equity conferences that takes place, one of the investors, LPs, I said at the lunch table said that there were 250 fund managers that he knew of on the road at the time for an African private equity fund. So forget the opportunity in Africa for a second, for where it's Bain or McKinsey's report on, it's the great new frontier in terms of investment opportunity. You juxtapose 250 GPs or managers on the road at one time for an asset class that's nascent at best, to the number of LPs who are actually literally looking at this stuff. It's order of magnitudes more, right? At any private equity conference, the number of managers in the room raising money is 10 to 15 times the number of potential LPs. So it's long and short, it's tough going. And if you don't carry the brand of an Actis or an Ethos, I'll pick on my panelist here, even tougher, who are on vintage 5 or 6 of a fund. If you're a new fund manager or one or second or third fund, it's a 36-month process to even think about it. Now, the challenge in that is that you will get a lot of meetings. Why? Because Africa is the flavor of the month now. So you'll spend a lot of money on the road, putting together pitch books, doing the PPM, preparing due diligence data rooms. But at the end of the day, while you don't, unlike 19 years ago when we started, where you're going in presentations trying to explain to investors the difference between Cape Town and Cairo, they're clued in, right? Because there's enough data to kind of do your homework. They're trying to find the best guys to do it, because on that graph, and noticeably, one of the graphs in terms of returns, realized returns, in South African private equity rates the lowest. So there's a question from an investor perspective that, yeah, does GDP growth in Ghana or Nigeria or what have you, does that translate into PE returns? Or am I better off just throwing darts, giving it to a listed fund manager and let him do his work? Is it large cap or small cap, right? Once they got sold on the Africa story, actually when investors begin to do the work to figure out how to play that Africa story, it's a much longer process because the jury is still out. Mm-hmm. I mean, some of the oldest firms on the continent doing business, one of the largest, right, is less than 20 years old. The blessing that we have is track record. I've got a 5 times return on Fund 1. I'm on pace to do 2.5, 3 times on Fund 2 with a 2008 vintage, the vintage year which is struggling right now. And my best selling asset is I put them in front of my numbers, and we're in fundraising mode right now, so I have a very specific answer to those questions. You not only got to post the numbers, you got to have an independent verification of those numbers. You got to have a Bain or a Riskier or some consultant say, we've looked at it, we've checked it, we've looked at the portfolio companies, these guys did it, and oh, by the way, here's how they did it, right? And because of course I'm going to tell you I can create value and I'm going to put in management and so forth, but every other guy in the room will tell you that as well. If the numbers prove it out, and we've done it, then it speaks for itself. The question is, can you do it again? Part of our success, frankly, is, admittedly, is making the right choices, being in the right place at the right time. Our first investment in sub-Saharan private equity was in EcoBank. Now, everybody in the room knows EcoBank, right? 32 countries, sub-Saharan Africa, billion plus. We invested in EcoBank when it was in 4 countries and it had a market cap of $30 million. So I can tell you I can recreate EcoBank, but what I can also tell you is that I can focus in a market segment that my competitors don't really do. And I can do it at scale, Pan-African, that only they can do because of their scale, but either they don't want to, that's not their strategy. Braden Ethos, and I'm speaking for them, they have to deploy $50 million at a time. It doesn't make sense managing $1 billion fund and doing a $5 million deal. I can do a $5 million deal. I'm unique in that way, partly because of my legacy and where I am. If I were building a private equity firm today, I couldn't do what I do. But I can source deals in a market where we'll all say we have proprietary deal flow, but I can execute on it. And I can add value in a part of the market where we believe the returns are more consistent. It's the mid-market space. And if you audit my results, that's what I've done.